So my first kind of a point I want to leave with you is really to understand who you are, because you will be tested. You'll be amazed, how much you would change. My career is sort of take a little twist as well. I always kind of run my own fund. Part of the time when Bruce sort of mentioned with Julian was really sort of when he invited me to really share office with him, because he sort of invited a whole bunch of fund managers that he invested in, and also share ideas. And that's when I sort of get a much better understanding of how the 95% of other people really operated. And it is tempting, because why 95% of the people don't do what you guys are here try to do, despite the spectacular success of Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger. Why is that? Anybody have a reason? Why is that? Why there's only, yes?
Because emotionally it's very difficult.
Yeah, emotionally it's very difficult. But if you think that, it's very convincing that value investors over a long period of time really have much, much better kind of returns. You think that's where the money is, even if it's emotionally difficult, you think they wouldn't change it? Any other reason?
Well, people are measured by short-term returns.
Right.
Actually, to that point.
Right. We actually are very close to the point. I think that the real answer is that's really where the money is. Why that's where the money is? Because the market is really created for those kind of people who are really thinking of trading in and out all the time, and therefore that they will pay attention to the short term. And therefore that if you put up with that requirement, that's really where the asset is going to find you. And so as a result, that statistic, despite the huge discrepancy of a performance of that 5% have a spectacular return consistently over a long period of time, 95% of the money or something close to that probably would always reside to somewhere else. And if that's where the money is, most of the people would naturally end up there. So my first kind of a point I want to leave with you is really to understand who you are, because you will be tested through all this period of time through your future career development, that you're going to really have to really face to ask yourself whether you're a value investor or you're not a value investor. Now, if for whatever reason that your personality is built to be a value investor, that probably means that you're somehow, genetically mutated throughout the process of evolution, that you're very comfortable being in a minority, which is not really very natural to human beings. Throughout our human evolution process, the most of us survive because we stick with the group in face of large mammals. That's the only way we can survive. And so it is really over, tens of thousands of years of evolution. It really is, deeply ingrained into your genes. But occasionally you will find a small percentage of people really survive despite the fact that they really have a different kind of a gene. It's almost through a mutation process that group of people survived. So that's the first thing. You have to really be very, very comfortable, being very much by yourself. And therefore you would naturally adopt the attitude you're right, not because other people agree with you, but because your reason, your evidence are right. It is common sense. But of course, as people said, common sense is the least a common commodity. Most people don't think that way. And secondly, that you would probably spend most of your time truly being an academic researcher instead of a so-called professional investor. Most of the time you're going to spend as a professional investor, as a value investor, not a professional investor, is really to be an academic, to be a researcher, to be a journalist, actually, to basically have insatiable curiosity, to really and try to figure out how just about everything works. Because investing really, the more you know, the better off you are as an investor. And so you just have to be naturally interested and curious just about everything. Any kind of a businesses, politics, science, technology, humanity, history, poetry, literature, everything really affected your business, basically. So you almost have to, you know, I don't want to scare off people. You don't have to, put it that way. It will help you. It will help you. And then occasionally you would find a few insight that out of those studies that really gave you tremendous opportunities that other people just for whatever reason couldn't deal with. Either psychologically, somebody said, or because of the limitation of the thinking, or because of the institutional imperative of the institution they belong to, all sorts of different reasons. And then you go through, you find out, is the business, that opportunity you're given, is that cheap? Is the business a good business? Is the management somebody that I can trust? Either because they're good or because the external checks are sufficient. And what else is missing? And why this opportunity presented to me? So you go through all this checklist and you feel comfortable, and then you just have to really go over the last psychological barrier to basically do it.